Hi everyone, Callie here. In this video, I'm going to build and review the Infinity Gauntlet. It is set number 76191, contains 590 pieces. The set was released on June 1st, 2021, and retails for $80. Now, $80 for this set is a lot, which is why it's often on sale, and of course I did pick it up on sale, and I got it to go with the Nano Gauntlet. As most of these gauntlets, the box is pretty standard. We got a nice black exterior because it's marketed to the 18 plus line. Sort of nothing really on the side, just the Infinity Saga sign. And then on the back we can see the picture of it in its famous snap. If you've obviously watched the Marvel movies, you know exactly what that is. And if you haven't, I don't know why you'd be buying this set. In all honesty, it's definitely one for the fans. On the side, you can also see the gauntlet fully sort of stretched out, just kind of like the front. And then at the bottom of the box, we have some pictures of Thanos wearing it in the film. We have the dimensions of it, and then another picture of Thanos wearing it in the film. Box art's pretty straightforward. There's no minifigures in here or anything like that. It's not like we got an exclusive Thanos to go with it, which would have been pretty cool. Time crack open the box. We've got some thumb tabs here, which I don't particularly like doing. Yeah. Open that up. See what's inside. 1, 2, 3 build stages. This won't take very long, and then pretty nice little book here. Ooh, there's a write-up inside. That's kind of nice. So we got, I'm assuming this designer, and then a little bit about who Thanos is. And then here's what we're going to do with each of the 3 stages. Core, bottom, and then the top. That seems pretty fun. And overall, it is going to be just 90 pages. So each build is, it's definitely an 18 plus step. Each step has quite a bit more detail. Let's get going. As we expected at the end of stage 1, we have the core structure of the gauntlet. First we began with the base, which is beautifully tiled off with all of these sort of slope elements, which looks really good actually. We even got a few studs open here if you wanted to do something with it, but I think that's nice. It gives a little sort of touch of Lego in there as well. At the front we've got a little hinge piece there where the plaque will eventually go. But most of that stage was based on creating this column structure. In the middle here we have 2 Technic elements, hopefully you saw that are connected here at the bottom of the pin here and a pin here to hold that as the sort of, you can actually see the pin there on the outside to hold that the base to all of this work at the top, which will hold the gauntlet. It isn't really much to look at, to be honest, but I think as a sort of Lego builder, it's actually really interesting to me to just see all the sort of work that went into creating the core to be able to build out something on top of it. So we got a lot of clips. We have quite a bit of snot as well. The stud's not on top pieces. And then we've also got some ball joints here. We've got another clip here, and we've got another inverse ball joint there. There's going to be plenty of places where things can go and articulate. I think maybe, although the articulation I assume is going to be at the top, but I'm interested what these little clips here are for, because that doesn't, I'm trying to think of the gauntlet itself, and I don't think there's anything there that's going to move, but maybe it's just to help sort of create the shape of the gauntlet. That's what we have at the start. You can see all the pieces that went into creating that, and we've also got the start of sort of this bottom color. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of this beige with the gold to create the look. Remember from the book, phase 2 is going to be creating all of this bottom, so we're going to color all of this in, and then we'll start to make the fingers in stage 3. Stage 2 went by so fast and it was incredibly satisfying. Look at all of the gold pieces that are here, the way they shine and reflect. And this is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely adore this front panel. It's all gold, but yet it's got so much texture to it because of the pieces used. I love the way that in the middle here we have a shield and the two ignits to create some sort of like depth and as I say, texture to it, a bit of design rather than just being like one straight up gold panel. It looks really good. These pieces here to create these different shapes as well. I think that's really nice. We get a few studs showing at the very bottom in beige, and I think that just adds a little bit of nice contrast at the bottom here with all of these beautiful slope pieces. This bit's a little bit strange, you know, these are sort of just in the spot, but I think that creates just a really nice little extra piece of texture too. The side panels are both exactly the same, and I really like the way we've just got the staggered shield pieces here. That looks pretty sweet, and obviously we've gone for the beige at the side instead of the gold, which is fine. The back panel is very similar to the front, but also it's also different, you know, in the sense that we have a little bit more beige in the center here. We've got some completely different design actually than what we have at the front, which is pretty nice. It's nice that it's not exactly a mirror image, so it does sort of show there is a back and a front to it. And that sort of kept the building a little bit refreshing as well. Panels are actually just, if you remember from stage 1, hopefully I don't break my thing too much. They're basically all connected with these bar connectors that you can push onto plate, and then they all go into those white areas here. If it just by taking off that front panel, you can kind of see all the detail that's in at the side here. You can see how they're connected to where we had it before, and the back panel should sort of just come off as well. Well, I pulled off the actual plate, but you can see how that's just put together there. Basically get a nice plate structure at the bottom, and then we covered it in gold pieces, and that's the same for the front panel as well. So it was really satisfying to just build panel 1, panel 2, and then 2 of the sides and just pop them straight on. They look so good. I love that. I just love the way they catch the light. It's going to be really nice on the shelf to see that. That's the bottom of the gauntlet completely done, and like that was 200 pieces and it went by like so incredibly quickly. Although those panels were pretty easy to pull off and on, I wouldn't really recommend it. This isn't really designed for as a play piece. You put them on, sort of push them in, keep the hinges where they're supposed to be, and then it's going to look pretty good. All right, well, let's get this thing finished. That was an absolutely epic third stage, and just look at the detail that we have in this hand here. It's very much reminiscent of the Nano Gauntlet, which I'm actually going to compare this to shortly. But just look at the beautiful detail we have in all the fingers. I really appreciate how we've got these. I've always associated these more with cars, but I don't really know what those pieces are called. But when you flip the digit back, it's completely sealed and you don't see that joint anymore. And I really like that. And I've used that piece here and here, here and here, right at that knuckle joint, and then there as well, and on these other fingers, so that we don't see this when we look at it from straight on. And I think that looks exceptional. I really like how they've used these pieces here. So we've got the studs on top, but it also has this phenomenal texture because it curves in and sort of, you know, and if we look at a finger, it's not a sort of straight thing, and they sort of really nicely captured that in Lego. Another thing I really appreciate is how each of the stones is actually a sort of slightly different construction. Like this has got the pyramid piece, this has got one wedge, this has got 2 wedges, this has got no wedges, this has got just a series of nice flat plate on top, and then round here we've actually got a round piece with a round stud. So that's pretty sweet. From the back, the fingers don't look pretty at all. So this is not a, this is where sort of the 360 model is sort of let down a little bit. You can't really appreciate that. If you wanted to have it so it could turn around, I guess if you flick the fingers down, it sort of looks okay-ish, but not really. So that beautiful piece of gauntlet that we have at the bottom base, you're not really ever going to see it, because why would you not want it around the front where you can see all this beautiful texture? Around the back, it does look pretty ugly. You're not going to want to look at that. And it's sort of a shame, because like we've got nice pieces here, and at the bottom, we had this beautiful back panel, and you're just never ever going to see that. Same with the thumb. You've got the inside of the thumb, you see the back of the Lego. It's not shiny, it's all that beige color, but it's slightly more aesthetically pleasing than all of this sort of plate work that you can see the back here. I don't mind that. I just sort of think it's a shame, because, as I say, you got this beautiful pieces here, beautiful gold, polished pieces, and even up here around the side, and then up the top, you've sort of lost all that beauty. What I really like about the fingers too is obviously they're highly posable. So if you want to do the snap, easy to do, which is pretty nice. You can sort of have it any way you want. Of course, you can be rude and display the fingers in certain ways if you wanted to. You can't separate them out that way. They are hinged at the bottom. They've got it's a double hinge, double clip, sorry, to one hinge. So you could, if you really wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you could move them over. But it would just look silly. Wouldn't really fit very well. The hinge will move slightly, so you can have a little bit of articulation there if you wanted to spread them out just a little bit. If maybe you want to do like Star Trek, you get the idea. But it's clearly designed to be upright, maybe down one finger to do a snap, and then to use these to hide all of that internal elements. Pretty nice finish to this section here. It is really beautiful. I really like how we've got like ingots here, and then we've got the sort of grate kind of piece as well. The part usage is phenomenal, and I really like the two-tone of the beige and then the polished gold. It really does look absolutely stunning, and will look phenomenal, I think, on the shelf too. It should catch the light and looks a little bit different from a lot of other models. Looking at the model as a whole, I don't think it really lets you down in any way. These are parts that you can sort of move and twist to cover that gap however you would like, but there's not really a lot of sort of option there. You want to have it so that it covers up those gaps. More shield pieces at the side here with the little half tile. It looks really good as well, just to kind of cover that sort of part up. If you took this off, you would see a lot of that internal structure, and just having this on just adds an extra level of polish to the overall look and feel of the gauntlet. I think I put that on wrong. There we go. I said it before, previously in the video, I just absolutely like the variety of parts we have here to create all these shapes and textures, because obviously it is just a gold hand, right? That's all this is, with a few colorful things in it. Like, I'm taking the sort of non-Marvel approach to this. Like, why would we want this? Why would we want to have this in here? And I think that mostly it's all just sort of looking at how interesting it is and what a fun build it was to put this together, because of all the different kinds of parts. There's big pieces here to create really bold statements, and then there's a lot of little pieces intertwined, and slopes and tiles just generally in there to create a lot of nice textures and a lot of nice shaping. It's nice that, the side of the hand here, we've got like the bulbous part here, we've got that here. Nice articulation of the thumb. I think atomically it's pretty set. No issues really with how that has come together. And then of course you've got the part at the back, this sort of, this bit here is also nicely put together there. I have no issue with the studs showing here. The top of this isn't the prettiest thing in the world, but that's absolutely fine, because you're never going to look at it really in any other way apart from maybe like that. And that would just catch the light at the back. So I don't think it's wasted. I think if this had been like just studs, it would have looked absolutely horrendous. Whereas at the top, it sort of makes sense because you can kind of curl it in, right? Now, the retail price of $80 for this, I have to say, seems extremely excessive. Now, that is based on the fact that I don't know how many of these gold pieces needed to be created, especially for the set, and also how expensive it is to make a gold piece over, say, like a regular matted blue. I don't know. If that costs a lot more, then that might explain the inflated price. Customers have pretty much said that $80 for this is too much, and it's been continuously on sale at secondary retailers for 20% off, so like $65 for best part of a year. And that seems to be sort of where customers are pretty happy to pick this up. They're like, yeah, $65 for the set seems pretty reasonable. there are nice touches to it. Like we have the printed Infinity Gauntlet sort of a specifications plaque. That is pretty nice. Obviously, there is a lot of tiled pieces here, and generally tiled pieces, polished pieces do cost a lot of money in comparison to studs and plates and things like that. There's also a fair bit of technique sort of in the middle to create this sort of nice strong core. And, that doesn't come cheap either. I would imagine that some of those pieces are slightly more expensive. The most expensive elements, I think, in the set are probably these big plates here that we usually see on ships and cars. And I would say that there's a lot of like these pieces, these special pieces up here that maybe were made especially in gold for this set. I picked up the Infinity Gauntlet because I'd already managed to snag the Nano Gauntlet at a ridiculous sale last Black Friday. This one does retail for $10 less. This one is $70 and this one is $80. And sort of looking at them critically, I would say that this one has better parts, has more detail, sort of just catches the eye more. Now, I think that is partly, of course, because this is gold and this is like maroon, right? It's the dark red with touches of gold through it. But one of the things I really appreciate about the difference between these is the detail in the fingers. Now, the Nano Gauntlet obviously is supposed to be a little bit more refined. It's supposed to be more closer to a hand. It's not like something that was produced. Well, maybe I won't give away spoilers, but one is for a big hand and one is for a more delicate hand, and that it definitely comes through here. The Nano Gauntlet does have some of those beautiful pieces. We have like the gold up here, and we have the sort of polished silver down here. But one thing I will notice is here on the Nano Gauntlet, we can see where that bridge is between the fingers and the stones. Here, because of this piece, it sort of looks a little bit more refined. You sort of can't see the details of how those fingers were put together because you have this piece that sits perfectly to hide all of the interior details. So either side, sort of a profile view of it, you can sort of see how wide this is compared to Nano Gauntlet. Completely makes sense. This also has some really nice detail with this sort of design around here and the polish here. But this also has amazing detail with all of these shield pieces coming in to create that to create the texture. And it sort of has a lot of good part usage too. So comparatively, I would say the side profile are pretty similar. This one obviously is just wider, and this one has a nice design. But generally speaking, they are pretty close to each other. When we get around to the back of each, they're very similar, right? You can see here, you also can see all the texture from the Nano Gauntlet that you can see up in the Infinity Gauntlet. We've also got quite a bit of studs showing, and we've also got the same sort of basic structure of what's happening with the thumb too at the back point there. This would be nice if they had one piece, and I actually might go and stick my eye on a little tile there myself. Over here we have a shield piece, so that's sort of just one little tiny bit of stud showing. I don't usually mind, but because we've got this all kind of tiled off, I think I want to tile that one piece off too. So one of the things that I have just noticed right now, I thought the stone construction was exactly the same. Like the purple's just a straight thing, two wedges, a wedge and a thing. And then this one on the Nano Gauntlet, for whatever reason, I don't have the half round and the pyramid, but these are the same. So, and the thumb's the same. So I'm sitting here going, did I mess this up? I'm going to go have to look at my instructions and see if I've somehow forgotten to put a couple of pieces on there, and I can absolutely correct that. In fact, I'm going to correct that. That's going to irritate me now that I've noticed it. That's really nice, the way that the designer has kept that sort of continuity going. And it also really helps that one is left and one is right. It sort of looks really good on the shelf together. And I think these are going to be a fantastic pair over there. But I do think that because this is gold, it does look just a little bit more beautiful, I think. Is that the right word? Elegant? Fancy? I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm not really sure. There's something that makes me, when these are together, that makes me want to look at this one more than this one. And I loved building this. I thought this was an incredible build, and I was so excited to have it. And now I'm like, I think the Infinity Gauntlet is better. Unless you're a Marvel fan, I don't see why you would buy this. Maybe if you're really into ancient artifacts, you might get the Infinity Gauntlet. There'd be no reason to get the Nano Gauntlet. I think both sets are probably likely to retire at the end of this year. They've been out for a couple of years now. What that means is, luckily, hopefully, you can pick these up on sale if you don't already have them. They're a great pair, and I did get this, and then that's why I got this. I was I was trying to not collect everything, and I was like, but this was like $40. I'm like, fine. And so I then waited and waited, and I got this on a really good sale. I think I got it for like 55, which I think was pretty good price for this particular set. And as a pair, these look absolutely stunning. They're an iconic symbol of the movies. This is obviously for pretty much most of the Infinity Saga, and this, of course, is an endgame spoiler if you haven't seen the movie. But if you haven't seen the movie, you're probably not watching this review, so I'm going to assume it's fine. And also, it came out 5 years ago, so I don't feel too bad about maybe talking about what this is. But also, the fact that this set exists is a spoiler in and of itself. You can just get this and be done. You don't need to go and get Thor's hammer. You don't need to get the Wolverine claws, whatever. You can just get these two and be like, that's my collection. I don't need to go and buy all the others. With things sometimes with like the Star Wars helmets, you've got like 3 and you're like, well, they came out with another one. I may as well get that too. Like here you can just stop because it is absolutely just this is like just one iconic moment that stands on its own and tells its own story without requiring more sets to complete the look and feel of the display. I think that's a really good, important point. And sometimes when you have these collections, they just start to kind of take over and they keep coming out with more. And you're like, oh, but I want that too. And it can kind of get run away a little bit. I think it's a phenomenal build. I really enjoyed it. I think that's very important to point out too when you're making a build like this. It was 3 stages. It was make the middle, make the wrist, make the hand, you're done. It was fast. It was satisfying. The pieces are absolutely gorgeous. I can't get over just really how beautiful it looks in the light. And hopefully, my camera's picking up this pretty well, so you can just see how much it shimmers, and it just looks just a little bit different from a lot of other Lego sets that we have. Not a lot of gold sets in the world, but this one really is magnificent and really stands out. The only thing left for me to do is put this on my shelf. See, just move the Nano Gauntlet across, pop him there, and voila. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. It looks so good. Sorry, I'm just really happy with how this little light up here is making this really shine. Oh, it's really popping off that shelf. I hope the camera's doing it justice. Like, look at that on the sort of the Marvel, well, a Marvel shelf. The Predator's down there. My 2 Quinjets are over there. My retro Quinjets are there. This is it's a work in progress, but I think that looks fantastic there. Look at those 2 together. Oh man. I'm really pleased about that. Well, that's about it for me today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, do hit the like button below. And of course, do subscribe because I got a lot of content coming out in the very near future. I have a ridiculous to-build pile. And honestly, that's not even all of it. And my city has also had quite a bit updated to it recently too. We got the courthouse now. We got the Natural History Museum. We got a medieval museum as well. And I also have the university that's just about to go in here too. Although I'm not sure if this is really the layout we're going to go with. So yeah, stay tuned for some more great content. And most importantly though, have yourselves a fantastic day. Bye for now.